going to talk into a microphone so I don't scream at you the whole time, because that's better. And so, hi everybody, this is going to be a really, really awesome evening, and so I am thrilled to see that this is completely packed, and that is exactly what we want to see. So I want to welcome everybody to JPAC's 2023 Rock County Arts Hall of Fame induction ceremony. The United Arts Alliance started this incredible tradition years ago, and our organization is very proud to say that we continue to recognize our community members for their outstanding artistic achievements and leadership at least once per year. My name is Nathan Burkhart, and I'm the Executive Director of the Janesville Performing Arts Center. It's my honor to speak on behalf of JPAC tonight and be part of such an honor for two amazing individuals. According to JPAC's last strategic plan, we focus on fostering a creative community through ways of inspiration, education, and celebration. When we look at the two people that we're honoring here tonight, we are looking at human beings that have influenced so many people, particularly through those key points of focus. The people we are honoring tonight are educators who care deeply about their students, not only while they're studying with them, but also when they move on to different parts of their life. They believe in a better Rock County, not just through the arts. They have dedicated years of their talents to other nonprofit initiatives and support people through many other extremely important aspects of life. This includes, but is definitely not limited to, homelessness, services for people with disabilities, and faith. Craig and Tanya, you are both incredible people in your own right. Even if we took away every artistic achievement that you have ever had to this community, you have made a difference in this world simply by being you. Can we give them a big round of applause? You inspire people, you educate people, you celebrate people. And JPAC is beyond thrilled to see your names go into the Hall of Fame. It is very well deserved. Selection in the Arts Hall of Fame is conducted by a process which involves JPAC's arts resident groups and the PAC nominating candidates annually. After the nomination process, a vote is conducted by all organizations with the top 2 vote getters, plus any ties being inducted. This year, I'm going to tell you that the finalists were probably the most accomplished set of individuals you could ask for. And the fact that you two were selected is quite an achievement. Congratulations. So that's it for me. Now you get to listen to the people talk that you came to listen talk. So I'm going to get off the podium, and we're going to honor these incredible people here tonight. I'm going to go ahead and invite Amber Barnes and Taylor Manning to the podium, who will be introducing our first inductee of the evening.
Hi, I'm Taylor Manny. I'm a program director at Life Dance Academy, and I work for Tanya.
And I'm Amber Barnes, and I'm the baby ballet director with Tanya at Life Dance Academy. Dance is a language beyond words, expressing that which we have no words. Jennifer D. Leon, artist and writer. The single phrase captures the essence of Miss Tanya Dubinski, who we have the distinct privilege and honor of recognizing tonight. While there truly are no words for astonishing accomplishments, here are our best bullet points of her legacy.
From a very young age, Tanya has always connected with children, especially through dance. Her lifelong mentor and teacher, Cheryl Schmidt, called Tanya the Pied Piper. Kids love her and would always flock to her. That was true 40 years ago and will continue for many years to come as she impacts this community. Her beginnings as an artist were seen all the way from 13 and 20, and this is all the things she just did in those 7 years. She choreographed Janesville Little Theater's production of Nonsense the Musical, taught classes for Park City Dance, Cheryl's studio, choreographed a local commercial, and was mistaken to be one of the dancers instead of the person in charge because she was so young. She started and ran her own dance competition team here in Janesville. She choreographed a fashion show for a local convention and choreographed Man of La Mancha for the high school and Cabaret for U-Rock. This is all while she's going to high school, training full-time as a dancer herself at Park City. And these highlights are just of the few notable accomplishments on her resume. But what a resume doesn't tell you is who a person is. Tanya proves that there are no limits, accepts any challenge, and leads by example.
Example 1. Tanya has been a guide on how to be a great arts educator. Tanya has instilled in us as teachers that it's not about the information we're sharing, but instead, it's about the environment we are creating in the dance studio for the kids. It's about the relationships we're nurturing, and it's about the connections we're making with students. It's about the love and passion for dance we're encouraging in our students. She has taught us that once you have that, then you can teach the information and get them to point their feet. And, true, it's a true story. And she still implants these beliefs in her own classroom. Her strong intuition and visions allow her to see things that no one else can. She intuitively recognizes when the energy is off in the room with students and how it needs to be addressed to fix it. She has been doing this for 30 years and has nurtured hundreds and hundreds of students in a loving and supportive way. I have heard of many of our current students whose parents were students of Tanya's. That speaks volumes to how she's been nurturing a love of arts in her community since she was a young teacher. And years later, those people are sending their children to her because they believe in who she is, what she stands for, and what she's doing to positively improve our Janesville community.
As a businesswoman, she has always been up for new ideas, new projects, and new programs to help grow the studio. She is a master at taking those ideas and making them into a reality. 10 years ago, she dreamed of a bigger studio to move out of downtown. She found a 10,000 square foot old printing shop, had blueprints drawn up, and envisioned the whole project. All while Cheryl was away on vacation. When she came back, she showed her plans to Cheryl, and she said, "Okay, you're my business partner, let's do this." And they did it. And here she is, another 10 years later, ready to expand the studio even more because of the 400 students and families that she needs to accommodate for. She has grown LDA into more than just a place to dance. It's a place to have family, to bring community together. It's a place for dance class for kids or adults of all ages, genders, races, and levels. A place for families to sit and watch their kids dance. A place for local theater and dance companies to rehearse in. A place to bring your kids for cookies and pictures with Santa and the Grinch. A place to go trunk or treating at and enjoy spooky and fun Halloween activities. A place to host a kid's birthday party and create memories with their friends. A place to give opportunities to those with disabilities through the No Limits program. Everyone is welcome, and everyone has a safe place to call LDA their home because of Tanya.
As a boss, she encourages us teachers and choreographers to explore, fail, and try again. She doesn't micromanage or expect us to always get everything perfectly right. She supports our own individual process of learning and growing. It's common in the dance studio world to care about how many trophies they get or how many students they have, and then their teachers suffer because of it. Tanya has never once indulged in that philosophy. She has continued her mentor's legacy, Ms. Cheryl Smith's, of nurturing people, students and staff included, and then teaching them about dance.
Now, don't get us wrong. This woman has also seen a lot of hardships and has come close to rock bottom, but she has always persevered. She has grown from every failure or setback and come back stronger and more resilient. She handles any setbacks as learning lessons, that whatever is happening to her is happening for her instead of to her. And that is why we say she leads by example. We mean it. As we continue to move in 2024, we know Tanya will continue to make moves, shine her light, and change the arts world here in Rock County. We are honored to present our friend, mentor, boss, And now Janesville's Hall of Fame recipient, Tanya Dubinski. We can't wait to see what you do in future years.
Well, I'm Tanya Dubinski. I started dancing when I was 8 years old, and I was hooked. I've done so much with dance that I honestly don't even remember it all. I've really struggled with how I was going to start this speech. This is a celebration of 33 years of my life in the arts. I thought I could go through every project or award or community event, or even the accomplished students that I've taught, but that's not the road I want to go down. I want to talk about what the arts have done for my life, my story on why I started as a teacher, why I opened the studio, and why mental health is so important to me, and how dance literally saved my life. My darkest days were when I was young, all the way into being a teenager. I lived abuse on all levels. Dance was my way of dealing with the secrets and the trauma without having to say anything. I felt no shame when I danced. My studio was my second home, a place where no intruder could come in and hurt me. For the couple of hours I danced at night, I didn't have to think about what I was going home to. I could literally it was the only place that I could literally be myself. It was a complete escape from reality. My entire life I was asked, why would you sacrifice every school event, prom, birthday parties, just to go to dance class? The answer was always an easy one for me. Dance was just more important. It was my social outlet, my physical therapy, my counselor, my medication, my place of self-expression, and my safe place to be. My dance studio was the only place I could go and just be me. I could feel everything I needed to feel and say everything I needed to say without ever speaking a word. I found myself in the most hopeless place when I was 16. That's when I was told, with the help of other people, you need to find a purpose in your life, and that purpose was dance. I found myself through dance. I started as a student, then transformed into a performer, continued my journey as an educator and choreographer, and have now found my identity as a studio owner. When I stepped into the role of a performer, it was a place to be bold and brave and passionate. I love the feeling of being on stage and the rush that I got from every step to every beat of the music. Music has always moved me, not just in my body, but deep in my soul. It was therapeutic, something that was all mine. No one could ever take it from me. And believe me, a lot has been taken from me in my life. When I began teaching, it was a way to share not only my knowledge of dance, but the feeling that comes with it if you allow yourself to be vulnerable. I could teach self-expression and cultivate creativity. As a teacher, you have the opportunity to make kids feel seen where they may not feel seen anywhere else. I get to give kids the opportunity to feel challenged and accomplished, a place to have expression, a place to cry, to laugh, to feel brokenhearted, a place to rejoice, a place to feel angry, and a place to feel joy like there is nowhere else in the world. Now as a studio owner, I have the opportunity to create a safe haven for other kids, a place where there's no prejudice, a space that kids can leave the stress of the day at the door if they choose to and just dance. My studio has been used for many community outreaches, to host events, local theater groups, a place to practice and rehearse. The studio is home to the No Limits program, which is an all-inclusive dance program for kids and adults with special needs. I love that we can be a part of our community in so many different ways. I've met so many wonderful students, families, and other artists on this journey. There is nothing that makes me happier than a student that tells me they love dance, or a student that comes back years later and say how dance gave them the skills they needed to reach their dreams. I've done my job once I've heard those words. It is amazing to me that I'm now teaching children of students that I had years ago, and it makes me feel very old as well. I get to love on their kids and have fun with them, even if it's just for a few hours a week. There's no better feeling than all the smiles in a classroom or seeing students accomplish something that they've been working on for so long. The cheers that erupt when a dance is performed and they totally nailed it. So many artists, leaders, educators, and goal-driven kiddos have come out of the dance studio. Kids become independent, accountable, more aware of their feelings, and learn how to work together with other people to accomplish a shared goal. Life Dance is in the business of cultivating great humans, just as much as we're in the business of creating beautiful dancers and artists. This award means more to me than I could ever express. It means that I have made a difference in my students' lives, in the arts, and in our community. So thank you for seeing me, thank you for hearing me, and thank you for appreciating what I have to offer.
Let's give another round for Tanya, please. So Tanya, on behalf of JPAC and Arts Hall of Fame, we're honored to have you with us tonight, so thank you again for all you've done for this community. Before we get to the final inductee of the evening, I just want to take a brief second to thank JPAC's resident groups who participate with this process. If you have any interest in getting involved in the performing arts or the visual arts in our community, please know that we have a place for you, regardless of your talent level, experience, or background. Feel free to disagree, but in my personal opinion, the performing arts is always a place that we can and should embrace inclusion and accessibility. It celebrates what makes us unique as individuals. It is something that lives in our souls, and not just something that we do, but it's something that we live. So, yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So these are the JPAC resident groups that helped with our current 2023-24. We have some new ones this year, which is always great. So Theater Unlimited, Janesville Little Theater, Lloyd Janesville Symphony, Life Dance Academy, 5678 Dance Studio, Veracity Dance Project, Spotlight on Kids, Unity on Stage, Circle Arts Collective, Janesville Art League, No Limits Dance, the Boys and Girls Club, the City of Janesville, and School District of Janesville. So if we could give them a big applause for all of them. I also want to take time to thank the volunteers and the staff who make JPAC run every year. It's a team here at JPAC. We like to say we and us. That's how we get things done around here. So Mike Salzberg is our technical director, and he's also another member of the UAA Hall of Fame. Alexis O'Connell, our managing director. Susie Baldwin, the education outreach director. Amanda Gittens, the special events manager. Justin Tillett, our technical assistant. And Kelly Klobes, our new patron and donor service coordinator. So if we could give them a big round of applause for So now I get to you, Craig. Yeah, hope you're ready. So I'm going to go ahead and invite Callie shouting up to the podium, who's going to introduce Craig.
Hello, everybody. Gotta scroll here and make sure I get back to the beginning. Okay, thanks. It is an honor to be here this evening. I'm very excited because we have gathered together to honor two individuals for their contributions to our arts community. Tonight is also very special for me because both of these individuals made their own massive impacts on my own artistic journey and career from childhood all the way through adulthood. So for that, I want to take the time to send you both a very heartfelt thank you for everything that you have contributed to my life as a child, as a young adult, as a full-fledged grown-up. I've learned a lot. They both were so integral in my own journey in achieving a professional career in the arts, and I cannot begin to express that enough. Both of these people allowed me to dream. Everything that Tanya just said about the environment that she has created, that was everything. Because I knew that Monday through Thursday, and all day Saturday and all day Sunday, I would be in that dance studio. I didn't have to worry about what was going on at home. All I had to do was go and figure out who I was. And that's exactly what I did. Now, I learned like all 27 different characters that Callie was and is, and you never knew what you were gonna get, but I found all of them. Thank you for the snaps, I appreciate you, friend. Mr. Bergum, and I just want to make this known right now, for years he has begged me to not call him Mr. Bergum. You can request away, but I can't. I cannot call you Craig. I don't even think I can call you Craig Bergum. It's just Mr. Bergum, or the nickname that we gave him as children in high school, just B. B. Where's B at? That type of stuff. So that's what you get tonight. You get Mr. Bergum or you get B. Mr. Bergum created that same environment for me in high school. When I began to float a bit with dance, and he created this safe haven for me to make choices. They weren't always the right choices, but I made them. And he made me feel safe to make those choices. So, thank you to you both. I have to unlock my phone because, why not? How embarrassing. In closing, for that section, I'm forever grateful to you both for everything that you have contributed for the last 30 years. That's how long it's been. It's been 30 years. That's a long time. So thank you. I hope you both know how important you are and have been throughout your careers and the lives of countless young artists throughout our community. And we all owe you a debt. I can't imagine two more deserving individuals to induct into the Hall of Fame in Rock County this evening. And, just my 2 cents, usually worth $1, spend it as you will, but long overdue. A heartfelt congratulations to you both. When I received the invitation from Mr. Bergum's daughter, Cameron, for tonight's event, I, of course, immediately added it to the calendar. Of course I'm going to be here. 2 days later, I received a message from Mr. Bergum himself directly asking if I would introduce him this evening. I had just pulled in. I had just pulled into the parking garage downtown to meet my husband for dinner, and had to sit in the car for 15 minutes and cry, because that's what I do now that I've had children. I just cry. And of course told him, yes, I will be here. There's not a question, because he was always there for me. The impact that he made those 4 years of college, or how embarrassing, 4 years of high school, at the beginning of my college career. He was there. He was just always there. Now remember, this was the 90s. It was the 90s. Things were different. You hung out at your teacher's house. Your parents allowed you to get in the car, drive with your teacher, up to Whitewater, La Crosse, go see shows, go to Madison, go see a show, go to Chicago, go see a show. Again, it was the 90s. But I promise you we're in very, very safe hands. I cannot begin to tell you how many times that we were at the Bergum household, listening to music, watching old shows, talking about the shows we knew he would never, ever allow us to do, but we were gonna try it. Which brings me to the next stage of my speech here. I was already honored to be present at this event and to support but I'm beyond proud to stand here tonight to share a few things that make Mr. Bergum so extraordinary. Mr. Bergum is a husband, father of 2 amazing children, and grandfather to 5 wonderful, smart, talented grandchildren. I've had the opportunity to teach 2 myself. And they're wonderful, wonderful young ladies. You may have seen both of his children around town behind cameras at multiple community events. Cameron and her lovely husband, Stephen, own Drywater Productions. So all of those wonderful videos you see about our community are right over here. And I hope you guys know both. How proud I am in this community, everyone who knows your family is, for the legacy that you have created for yourselves, for our community, because they continue to do amazing work for you guys and us. Mr. Bergum has played in bluegrass bands for as long as I have known him, and he's good. He's not bad. He's good. He's very good. He's wonderful. And his children have also played with him. Creating music, creating art, creating moments and memories. It's what the Bergum family does. Mr. Bergum has also worked for the school district of Janesville for 26 years. That's a long time. This is where my own journey began with Mr. Bergum. I met Mr. Bergum freshman year. I don't feel like it was an acting class. This is what caught me up, but what was it? It was like was it acting? It was club. What's that mean, like Parker Playhouse? It was like a class. We had that? Oh, well, he taught me to act in that class. I'm not sure he taught anyone else to act in that class, but he taught me to act in that class. I don't remember a single other artistic person in that class. But I feel like there were like 8 of us, and we were killing it in the back of the auditorium, you know. I learned a lot in that class, so I want you to know that. I actually did learn something. Freshman year in that class, he's like, well, you're auditioning for the musical, right? Well, I mean, look at me. Yes, of course I am. And that was Music Man. And a couple time steps later that were not requested, he cast me as Anita Shin. Yes, in Music Man as a freshman. Ruffled some feathers because, you know, freshman, but I hope I did you proud. Yes. Yes. Fiddler on the Roof was next. We're not going to talk about that one. Look at this. And I choreographed it. It was great. And I learned a lot. That was probably the first core memory of when you fool around, you find out. For lack of a better phrase. There is a better phrase, but...
Fired her.
He fired me. But he apologized for it later. He apologized for it later because it truly was a complete miscommunication. And like a week before Jack. So it was a thing, Mr. Bergum. It was a thing. And then Karen, my mother, got involved. Karen got involved, and it was like a thing. But you know, whatever. I calgress. We continue. We got past it. Following year, there was a play, and I believe this was junior year, To Kill a Mockingbird. To Kill a Mockingbird. I was not in To Kill a Mockingbird, but let me tell you what, I helped put a chicken wire ham on my best friend, Karina. And she was killing it. Literally, she was dying inside because there was a lot of just raw chicken wire inside that thing. But I was like, you're fine, suck it up, you're fine, Karina, you're gonna be great. But that was the first time that I had the opportunity to work backstage. Loved it. I loved every second of it, and that was what was great about Parker Playhouse back in the day. Back in the day. We were so immersed in every aspect of theater. If I would have gone to him and told him that I wanted to do lighting, he would have taught me how to do lighting. He would have taught me how to do sound. He would have taught me. I didn't, because I have no business. But he would have taken that time, and that is what was so special about that Bergum Bowman, David Bowman, who was the choral director at Parker at the time. That was what was so special about the Bowman-Bergum era, is that they saw the hunger that some of us showed. And going back to what the dance studio was to me as a child, the theater at Parker High School became my safe place. On stage, behind stage, in the back of the auditorium, learning monologues that I don't remember. But I remember how impactful they were. Those moments were. Grand Hotel, as I like to call it, Grand Schmotel, that was on Broadway for about a schminute. I do believe, were the national high school debut of that show, and I think I've maybe seen it done or heard of it being done maybe 2 or 3 more times since 1999, 2000. It's a dark show. It's a heavy show. One of my friends from that cast is here this evening, and I'm not sure if you've had the opportunity to see him yet, but Josh Webster is in the house. And Josh Webster, who is the quietest, most delightful human being, God broke the mold with this one. Just a nice guy. Played a wheelchair-bound, I think, veteran who was addicted to morphine. And like I said, it was dark. I said it was very dark. But like, he took someone like Josh Webster and was able to create that character. When I asked Josh Webster, do you have any fun stories you want to share about B? He goes, do you remember that time where he said something to me and it got me so upset? And I ran out of the auditorium screaming, cussing, throwing things in the air that I shouldn't be throwing. I said, yeah. I specifically remember sitting next to Kelly Morris, as it was back in the day, who's now married to the chief of police in town, and looking at her and saying, what is going on there? Josh Webster doesn't even know those words. He finally told me what happened. He said, Mr. Bergum came up to me and said, I need to get a reaction on these kids. I'm going to say something to you that's going to make you really mad in front of everybody. And I want you to give it to me. I want you to get mad. And he did. I mean, Josh Webster gave it to me. I mean, it was worthy of at least 3, 4 Schmolden awards, you know? Yeah. Yes. Shaquatamy Awards. Yeah, there it is. What do they have now? The Jerry's? What are they called? The Jerry Awards? The Jerry. This was a Barry Award. Josh Webster, I don't know where you are, but you got at least 4 Barry Awards, okay? For that performance from you. But those are the things that Mr. Bergum did. Now, also with Grand Hotel, we're going to talk about something he made me do that I was like, oh my God. My character, a washed up Russian ballerina named Elizaveta Grushkinskaya, met a count who was just full of it. He was penniless and whatnot. Well, this was played by freshman Quinn White, who had never, ever, 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 ever once kissed a girl in his life. And guess who he had to kiss? We finally get to the scene. We have to block it. Everybody is there, waiting to see what's going to happen. And I finally looked at him, Quinn, and said, have you ever kissed a girl? He had not. So Mr. Bergum put me in a position where we excused ourselves and we went stage right. In about 30 seconds, I figured it all out for him. And that sounds terrible, but it wasn't. And we went back out and we just had to do this simple kiss. Quinn and I have known each other. We were like OG Spotlight on Kids. Like the beginning of Spotlight on Kids. Barely the 90s. And Quinn was part of that. I'd known Quinn since he had been like 7 years old, when he was Pinocchio. So this was hard for us. But you gave us that opportunity, and you allowed us to work through it in 30 seconds, but we did it. And now Quinn White has a great story. And actually I spoke with Lindsay. Lindsay reached out to me the other day, his wife, who is also lovely. These are all people that I still have wonderful relationships with. And again, that's what Parker Playhouse created. And that's what Craig Bergum created for us. This was family 25 years ago. I haven't seen Josh in... Josh, how long? Come on, Josh, this is your moment. Too long. Fair enough. I've known Josh for at least 20 years. At least. We graduated 20 years ago. I've known Josh a long time, and seeing him tonight for the first time and having him join us for dinner, it was like nothing changed. It was exactly the same. Because of that family that Mr. Bergum and David Bowman created for us. Next up, noise is off. And you're gonna love this story because not a week ago, I kid you not, on New Year's Eve, I was at a soiree where this girl walks up to me, it's not a girl, it's just a woman, just a girl, walks up to me and says, two things, actually, you'll remember this as well. First one was, you were Tinkerbell. Who remembers that? It was 1995. Who remembers that? But she's not the first one. My mom was on jury duty like 20 years ago when the same thing happened. It was weird. I walked in to pick her up and she was like, a guy on jury duty with her was like, your daughter was Tinkerbell. I was like, that's not what we're talking about right now, sir. You are in court. Anyway, she brought up Tinkerbell and then she said, but you did a play. And I don't remember what it was, but you were blonde, you were in a bra, and your head got stuck in a railing, like a stair railing. Like, and it was this whole bit that went on for, look at him. It started out as like a 5-second bit. It became like a 3-minute bit. But it was something that people remembered. You should have stopped me at like 7 seconds. That would have been better. But you allowed me to keep going. Like I said, you allowed me to make choices. They weren't always the right choices, but you allowed me to make choices. I know I'm rambling here. Next up was a show, it was my senior year, that to this day remains throughout my entire career. 46 countries, 2 national tours, 2 Broadway national tours, the Las Vegas Strip, 4 years on cruise ships. Remains top 3 casts and productions that I've ever been a part of. And that is Into the Woods. Indeed. To this day, my friend Britton tonight even confirmed, I saw Into the Woods. Rule saw Into the Woods. He brings it up from time to time. It was an incredible production. The set that I wrote my name in the tree. I tried to make it look like bark. It did not. It looked like Callie up a tree. Which was why I was never allowed to. Oh, I gotta come back to you, Cameron. There's one more good story, but we'll go back there in a minute. We're gonna talk about it. The cast was phenomenal. Cameron was in that cast with me as a baker's wife. Sophomore. Yes? Yeah, sophomore. See? There were other freshmen and sophomores that got leads. Oh, no, you were good. You were really good. You are really good. Anyway, I'm calgressing again. I'm getting too comfortable up here. I apologize. Into the Woods was one of the finest productions, so brilliantly cast. You guys were able to put each of us into the perfect role. Kelly Pearson as Cinderella, voice of an angel, that one. Perfect. Steve Gensler is the baker. I was the witch. Weird. Best casting ever. Best casting ever. So we're gonna take a moment, we're gonna pop back to Greenwich Motel here for a second, and this is how trusting Mr. Bergum was of me. Because of one line in one song that his daughter had to sing. I want to be that girl in the mirror there. I want to be that girl with golden hair. Golden hair? She could have said brown hair. But no, her hair was down to her behind, and he allowed me to box dye that mess blonde. It did not go blonde. Far from it. It's like, yeah, I've done it a million times. It's fine. Everything's fine. That's trust. I don't think you ever forgave me for it. I don't think she ever forgave me for it. And you probably never forgave me for it because she never forgave me for it. So I apologize. And to your wonderful mother, I'm so sorry you had to go home with it each night.
I will never dye my hair ever again.
Good girl. Good girl. Nothing good comes from it. But he got me back the following year and into the woods because they decided to make a, like, what was it? Like a latex witch mask that was formed off of my face. And then oh gosh, why am I blanking on her name right now? It doesn't matter. She created a friend. You still have it? Oh no. Get out of here. That's for later. We'll talk about that later. There's no way we can keep it. Oh, God. I had to rip this thing off of my face that was glued to my face at the end of Act 1. And then all of a sudden I'm like, bam, Bernadette Peters, I'm beautiful. I was not beautiful. Thank God for intermission because there was a lot to fix. And I screamed every single night because it hurt so much, but that thing wasn't coming off and we did it. So you got me back. The minute you shoved those straws, like, you're just gonna breathe through these, like, for like an hour. While this laser, it was terrible, y'all. It was just awful. Well, so he got me back. It was the 90s! Things that would not happen in high school theater today. Yes, 100%. So, the biggest lesson I learned from Craig Bergum, though, see, I did it, was learning the word no. Learning to accept rejection. That doesn't happen often anymore. And my parents trusted him every single step of the way, except for that whole Fiddler on the Roof debacle, because that really upset Karen. But it's okay, rightfully so. Like I said, everybody's apologized, everything's cool, we all figured it out, but it's fine. I auditioned for the Fireside 3 times. No. Just slightly too tall, slightly too tall, slightly too tall. Auditioned for the Interlochen Arts Academy. Wasn't happening. And these are like VHS tapes, remember that? You remember that audition process? Oh yeah. This is like before the internet, y'all. Like, this was a long time ago. Now kids are so immersed and can find everything at their fingertips. We didn't have that. So we were really just winging it. Kids from Wisconsin. Alternate. Eventually moved in, but no. Those were blows that had to happen in front of someone that believed in me so much and was just, I let him down, I let him down, I let him down, I let him down. And that was a driving force for me my entire career. Had it not been for those life lessons, my career would have been very, very different. Because being told no is a life lesson. Being told you're not good enough right now is a life lesson. And it's up to us to choose where we want to take that and what direction we want to take that in. And I'm so grateful that you were there to catch me. Like always. And we moved on to the next thing. Yes? I want to take a moment And he's gonna do a little more of this. We chit-chatted before, but I want to talk about some notable alumni. Mr. Bergum, because of the love of arts that you instilled in me, and Tanya, you were in on this as well. I've traveled to 46 countries. I said before, 2 Broadway national tours, cruise ships, an equity card. Before you could just buy them. Equity card is joining the union. You used to have to be asked to join the Stage Actors Union. Countless dinner theaters. God, I traveled on a bus with 4 Elvi. You heard me right? They're known as Elvi when there's more than one. I sang back for Elvis, and I regret nothing. And you guys helped nurture that dream, so thank you very, very much. And Elena Feldman-Schultz just filmed a Dyson commercial and does voiceover in Chicago, casting in Chicago. Matt Imhoff designs sets for off-Broadway productions in New York City. Steve Gensler, who is going to become an astronaut. Since the moment I knew him at St. Williams at 5 years old, all the way through high school, I'm gonna be an astronaut. No, now he's a stand-up comedian in Chicago. Mike Stallsberg, here. He was part of that great era of Bowman and Bergum at Parker High School. Kelly Pearson, who's now married to the police chief, runs numerous music programs within the parochial school districts and within the churches in our community. Karina Worth is the most amazing mother I've ever seen in my entire life with 5 boys under the age of 18. God bless her heart. Matt Keeley owns Draft House downtown and is the godfather of our sons. Justin Jackson has written books out in Seattle. Jordan Jackson. He's so brilliant. And a prodigy of yours, doing theater out in Chicago. He just did Hedwig. He was Hedwig in The Angry Inch. Like, come on. And Susie Baldwin here as well. It's the last one that I will mention, who is now in charge of the children's outreach programs. And look what you did in December. It's amazing. All of these people were directly impacted by what you brought. Through teaching us, guiding us, directing us. Coming full circle and in closing, 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to direct a production of Little Women here at JPAC, and it was a beautiful production. Talent came out for it, and the production team was out of this world. It was a beautiful collaboration and a beautiful, beautiful performance from 2 casts, performances from 2 casts that really brought so much life into JPAC and onto that stage. When I saw Craig Bergum in this lobby, I broke down into a mess because I had children and I cried. That's what I do. I cry now. I cry now. But one day, I looked him in the face amidst these tears and I said, remember that time that you told me one day you're going to understand? I understand now. And I get it. And I see how much work you guys put in. And I know how much work and time and heartache that comes into this thankless job of creating art. So thank you, beyond words. Thank you. In closing, I'm getting there, Nate. I hear your papers. I hear your papers. I hear them going. I hear them. I know, I'm coming. In closing, I said this to you that evening as well, but I'm going to say it again. And this is true. Before every performance that I've ever done, there's a split second when I'm standing in those wings before I have to chasse, kickball change, pas de bourrée, lay up for the Lord in 0.3 seconds. Where this man has come into my mind. This is for B. B is here. You've been with me every single performance I've ever done, because you deserve to be there. Thank you so much for everything that you have given me. On behalf of everyone else, I feel okay speaking for everyone else at this point in time, just my 2 cents. Thank you. Because you have given us more than you will ever know. And you are so deserving of this honor this evening. Thank you so much to you, beautiful wife, beautiful family, for everything you guys have given. Because I know it's not an easy job, being the wife of a director. My husband knows that as well. So thank you very, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and my privilege to introduce you to Mr. Craig Bergum.
So theater brings on props. I know you really want to get this over.
No. You get your time.
Some of you guys will know this. So it's been a long time of doing this, and I really love the years that we've had together with people and kids, and I'm still reeling when Callie said she was all grown up. I'm not sure that's ever going to happen, and Karen knows that, right? Poor husband.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But you speak a different language, so when you get upset, you can just speak in your own language. She can't understand you.
This is true. I can understand them.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Callie, and for the opportunity, or for the kind words. And it's a pleasure being here. Thank you to the committee that asked me to be here. Tanya, I'm like twice your age, and I got more years into working with kids, and why did we even choose doing it, right? Right? You know, and then I had my own kids, and then they came along and had their own kids, and now I've got a cast, actually. So, the whole band, yeah. So, there are people, when you bring me up here, bring Tanya up, we know that it's not me, it's not her, but it's everyone you surround yourself with. And over the years, we've had our different people that have been around us. In the very beginning, I'll say some names, but Mrs. Reynolds, a parent, she comes in, she says, I'm gonna help you. Okay, what are you gonna do? I'm an artist. I think it was 15 years, well past the time her 2 children left the high school, that she continued to work with me. And she's a dear, dear friend even today. And I will carry that with me all the way. David Bowman, she mentioned B&B. Maybe that's where Bob comes from. But you don't just do this and not have, she's talking about family, and that's what it is. And every one of those kids are your children, and they will always be your children. And as you go through life, when they show up at your house once in a while, some of them still come by every once in a while in the summer, they'll stop by, and some of them bring their own kids. So, and you were teaching kids of your kids. I'm teaching grandchildren of my kids, so just so you know. Yeah, so when you reach this age, you'll understand. So David Bowman and Mrs. Reynolds, they were all a part of that in the beginning years. Those kids out there that are here tonight, I know there's a few from the middle school right now. They just love paper mache. Right, you guys? Paper mache. Don't blame me. Blame that on Mrs. Reynolds, because she was the first one to do it. And she created, the first show that we did paper mache was Brigadoon. And those of you that know, I did Brigadoon many, many years later with TUI. And they loved the vast mountains of paper mache that had to move and rotate. And those of you that might have seen the show, I was smart that year because I didn't direct it, David Bitter did. And I flew away. So I didn't even get to see the show. I was gone, which is good. What are you doing? I faded away. David Bitter was a big part of my life in the community eras. We did, the first time we did some music together, we were both young men, David. David had lots of hair. He didn't have any hair now. And it was curly, and he was a guitar player, and we did some music together, and we had a great time, and our daughters ran around the choir room together once in a while, and such. So he got involved. He came back to theater when we did the West Side Story. And he played Doc, go figure, the pharmacist. And it was a tough, he didn't, it was tough for him to be that role of a pharmacist, Dave. So he got in, and then I got involved with him doing some community theater with TY, and he was a assistant director in that. Now he's directing and producing shows himself. And he learned very quickly that there's a piece, and Dave Bowman knew this, and some teachers at Craig High School, Shelley Kokoris and Heather Last, they needed somebody to narrow things up, because I see things like this. And they knew, okay, we got to narrow things up. And Dave was already too busy being an assistant director and popping over here and going over there and doing this and doing that. So they attached a person to me, and they became a Craiger. And that Craiger is Karen Brown, and Karen Brown has been with me directing and assistant directing ever since. So she's been my Craiger, and she's the one that kind of narrows my focus a little bit in those situations as well. So I did bring props. So when you're in theater, I don't know who comes up with this idea, but we make all these t-shirts, right? Okay, there's one. Oh, I'll get to that one. Oh, school, this is a fun one. This was Schoolhouse Rock. Did this in middle school. That was fun. A lot of Edison stuff. I did Music Man 3 times. Once I did it at Parker High School, and then I did it in the community, or at the middle school, and then I did it at with TUI. It was my first TUI show. So let's see. This one is Bye Bye Birdie. Did that twice. Bye Bye Birdie was a show that I think people might remember, because it was during this show that I think people first experienced the ghost of Parker High School. Anybody remember Rachel? Yeah. So we're doing the show. Bye Bye Birdie has lots of technical things going on, and we were there late one night. Might not have been this one, but Mrs. Hess and I were there, Sarah Hess, and two girls. It was getting later, and the air handlers come on at about 10 o'clock at night. And if the doors are open in the way they had the old seats, what would happen is the breeze would come through, and it would start to move the chairs, and noises and creaks. And the two girls, sisters, what's that? And Sarah says, "Oh, that's the ghost." And they, "What?" I said, "Yeah, that's the ghost." What do you mean, the ghost? So that was when the ghost first haunted Parker High School. And it started out with, quite innocently, really, well, what happened? Well, she fell from the catwalk.
And you named her Rachel?
I had not named her Rachel, that wasn't me. So these two girls were happy when their dad finally showed up, and they went home. And the next day in choir class with Mr. Bowman said, "Do you know about the ghost?" And Mr. Bowman says, "What are you talking about?" "The ghost in the theater, Mr. Bergum and Mrs. Hess was telling us about the ghost." "What did he tell you?" And he told me blah, blah, blah. He says, "Yes, her name is Rachel. And she fell from the catwalks and died on the stage." And that was really cool that day. And that night, when all of the kids went home, one of the kids was telling their parents and little brothers and sisters about it. And the next day, David Bowman got called into the principal's office because he was talking about the ghost, in that he got an irate phone call from a parent whose kids were up all night having nightmares. And so he came to me and he said, "Craig, what are we going to do?" He says, you know that whole thing about Rachel, the ghost that fell on the thing? Well, I just got called into the principal's office about it." And I said, "Well, what did he say?" He said, he said we're not supposed to be doing those kinds of things. We can't talk about that. "What are we going to do?" And I said, "If the kids ask, we're just going to tell them we can't talk about it anymore." And that was in a week. And at the end of that run of the show, many kind of cool things would happen, and people swore they saw Rachel. The lights were blinking, the sounds were coming, and everybody was talking about Rachel. And to this day, there are still people, and I'm telling you all that this is, if they ask you, I'm going to tell you I've never said this, but Rachel's still real to them. She made it into the newspaper, and she made it into the scariest hauntings in the state of Wisconsin. And I think the one thing that really nailed it really good was, I was up in the booth, and our stage manager, young guy, he was a freshman that year, very eager to please, he's on the headsets. And one of the lights, this was back before we had the mechanical, or the computer lights, one of the lights, it's all magnetic stuff, and you know, the system was, one light went down, and then it came back up. Well, the only way you can get it to not come back up is to unplug it. And I was the cool guy with the long hair and the big black beard, and I ran out of the light booth, up into the catwalks, across the catwalks, and I went to unplug the light, and the kids saw something in white. Because I was wearing a really nice three-piece suit back in the 90s, and it was all white, and that's what they saw before that light finally went out. So clearly there's Rachel. And then, not long after that, this poor freshman boy, somebody says, "Mr. Bergum, you have to come down here." They're on the headset. "Come down here. So-and-so," I won't tell you his name, but he's in the corner. Okay, so I came down, and in the corner, here he is, and he's just rocking and wrapped up around himself. And they said, "What is going on?" He said, "I heard Rachel singing." And the radio picked up a woman singing to her baby in one of the houses across the street from Parker High School. And that poor kid, he was terrified. So then I think it was the next year we got the computer, and that was about the time when Mike Stallsberg came in. Mike Stallsberg is here, you know, in this place. Like Callie and Kelly and Karina, all these kids, Mike was very special too. He was with me well beyond the 4 years of the high school, and he went on to be here. And I don't know if it was him or it was me. One of us came up with the idea because the computer system was programmable. And so we programmed the computer that at a certain, because there's the night staff had to come through and check out the auditorium. And so we set it up at a certain time, the lights switch would come on and lights would start coming on and going on and coming on and going on. And that woman is still a custodian, and she was my custodian up until the year I retired the first time. And she's still a custodian at Edison. But yeah, terrified that woman, oh my goodness. But Rachel's not real. But the kids all think she is. So if you have any questions, you just say, "Oh no, I heard it. Mr. Bergum was, and he said that she really wanted the place." So anyway, that's Rachel. So she was, Kelly was talking about some shows, and in every show we all have our memories of specific things, and you demonstrated that with different stories, but live theater, and this is what's missing from live theater, you guys. Live theater has live music. We're not seeing that very much anymore, you guys, and that's wrong. So if I'm going to say anything tonight, we really need our orchestras back. We need to give them something to do. We need to get them involved. We need to hear that. We need to pair the professional players that are out there with our students so that our students can hear and be a part of something that they're not going to experience otherwise. And we have the tracks now. And I see track use in the lower grades, middle school, elementary school. When you get to high school, especially in this town where we have a program that is developing kids, let's make that the next part of our academy. They need to be experiencing that too. And but in every one of these things we have our memories, and I'm not going to go through everything I have in the bag, and this is only half of my t-shirts, by the way. There's always those things that happen in shows that you have no control over. For instance, Callie referenced Noises Off. I didn't direct the show, so I didn't direct her to come out in her bra or whatever, but I had a lot to say about it. And that was one of those bad choices.
I didn't make that choice.
I know you didn't. You followed your director.
I did what I was
Which, that was my mistake to teach her that she does whatever her director tells her to do. But there's always different shows, right? And in that show, there was an accident.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I won't say the name of the student. Stepped off, you go up the ladder, or up the stairs, you go out the side, and then there's the spiral staircases that come down, and you had to make a step. And the director at the time said, "You need to go through those stairs." It was the last night of the show. "You need to go through that wall." He'd never done it before, and it was 2 weekends worth, and so he'd never actually gone through the door. and he stepped through the door, went through the barricade, and fell 16 feet, landed on his face, comes around, it's the last scene of the show, and he's supposed to be all bloody, comes around, and I'm over on the side, and he looks at me, and he's got this, I mean, it was the best blood I'd ever seen. And one of the kids said, Mr. Bergum's, he fell, and he fell off the top. And so he's looking at me, and he's kind of like this. And I said, what day is it? He said, the day. What's your part? My part. When are you supposed to be on stage? Right now. Then get your ass on stage. He goes out on stage, says what he's supposed to say. The lights go down, show's over, and he collapsed. Ended up in the hospital with his stitches in a new tooth, I think. Same kid, West Side Story. They're throwing tin cans around. He got in the wrong place at the wrong time, got knocked down, he slid across the floor, hit the same face into the set. End of that show, mom comes in, hey, Mr. Bergum, how's it going? I'm gonna take him to the hospital. Goes up to the hospital, another stitches and another tooth. So, and now I understand, is doing some great stuff. So he was mentioned tonight. So, yeah, so there's these, yeah, that's right, now we can dial 911. So every show has that happens in their shows. You have little things here and there, and that was one of them. But my very favorite show, and directors don't do this very often, but they talk about shows, and I would do this again if that entire cast would come. And 2 years ago, Callie, when you were sobbing all over my, what was a new sweater at the time, I said, yeah, that's right. I said then, I would direct that show again if we could get the same cast. But in that show, we had spinning floors. First time I think we did it. And they're here, by the way, they're still down in the basement. We had these spinning floors, and over the course of a couple of weeks, spinning them around, they get dusty. So Jerry Peterson came in to help us that time, and he decided the day of opening night that he was going to lift the stairs up and spray the wheels. So he does. One of the scenes has an individual literally walking to the front of the stage, doing a transition, and steps off of this round turntable as it's closing. Well, it's been really difficult to move it for weeks. And that night, he comes singing, starts moving forward, and the guys on the turntable that were turning it start pushing it, and it went so fast, he's now sidestepping, and he literally sidestepped off the stage and hit the side of the stairs that was on the other side of it. Those kinds of things you just can't make up. So, accidents happen, but that's live theater. That's live theater. And the kids will remember those things too, but they don't as much as they remember all of the other special things that go on in live theater. So I've talked about some of my team members that I've worked with. In the last few years, while I was working with TUI, there's some very notable people that you really want to know about. Dave Bitter is one of them. Love this man like a brother. He broke his neck, I broke my neck. We celebrated together in our little collars. He is married to his high school sweetheart, which he met on stage, Kathy Bitter, and she's an amazing actress, amazing singer, but she's the costumer. People know her now as a costumer. In fact, so this is what happens when you get honored, right? Had to cut my hair, hate getting my hair cut. My beard was nice and full, it looked great, and I got my hair cut, so now I have to trim my beard, and I'm using the scissors, and I snipped a little low, and so then I had to get the clippers out, and so it's 2 hours, I gotta be at JPAC, so now you see what I got, you know, down to the skin almost. But then, lo and behold, the last few years, I got a little bigger. And so I couldn't fit into my jacket. And so Mary, my wife, actually said, you should give Kathy Bitter a call. We could meet her at the costume room and she could costume me for tonight, which would have been really perfect. But we didn't do that. So she goes out and buys me a new suit, which I'll be growing out of very soon again too. Kathy Bitter, outstanding, and she had her team that she would bring in. Karen Brown, of course, who's been so much involved in the theater with us, and the group of individuals in that organization, which is really making a big. They're coming back with some nice shows in the coming months, so pay attention to the different shows coming here. They're amazing people, and you ladies that were up here introducing Tanya, you do know that Tanya's leading, but you're a part of that. You know, these people are a part of everything that we do. It's not what I did, it's about the team and the people that you pull behind you, the people that are standing beside you, behind you, or in front of you. The people who narrow my focus because I have a big focus. The people who are coming into it for the first time. Amanda and Terry Jones, they're with Edison Middle School. They've been doing some amazing things over there with kids. They have the heart, like the theater people and the dance people have. It's not about them personally, it's about those that they're gonna walk with. And they're taking on this new era. And each one of these individuals you fall in love with, they're a part of you, and they'll never not be a part of you. And that's the people that you surround yourself with. In my experience, I had my 2 children. They were both involved in some of the things that we did. My wife would always bring food to the stage because she didn't want to be on stage because I couldn't get cranky with anybody else, but I would get cranky with my wife. I know that's not a good thing, but you know, so she would just bob her head. The joke of Bob is, I'm getting older, Tanya, I can't remember names. And so everybody, the very first day, everybody's Bob. And to this day, there's a Bob over there, a couple Bobs over there, a couple Bobs over here. So that's the only way I can get through a day, and I won't always remember everybody anymore like I used to. But yeah. Finally, when we talk about what we do, it is all about the kids. It's all about the kids. And if you take that, your temperament is better, you learn so much from them. I probably learned more from the 1,000+ students that I've known than I ever could have given. I learned one of my students is out here. She dances, and she, you know, it's been a while since I've been brought to tears watching a student once in a while do things, but this particular young lady brought me to tears every time I saw her in a show, and she was Tinkerbell in our show. And it was a moment, those moments you just never let go of. You never let go of those. And that's what makes it special. It's special because you're with the kids. And there are kids that don't know how capable they are until they're just slightly pulled in. And one of our students is sitting back there, and I was talking about him earlier. Started out in the backstage, and he ended up being a shadow in Japan. And this year, he wants to be on stage. So there again, that's what happens, and isn't that so cool for us? The opportunities are wonderful, but the emotion that comes from it and the life that they have is so amazing, so amazing. Don't let your kids, if you have them, walk away from something the first time, whether it's a sport event or whatever it is. Encourage them to continue, because something's going to happen. Some magic is going to be there. And if I leave you with anything else, that's trust your directors. Keep an eye on them, but trust your directors. Trust your choreographers, your dance instructors, and trust the people that they bring in, because they're not going to bring somebody in that they don't trust. And love your kids no matter what. One little part can be the part that somebody walks away remembering, and that's where Tinkerbell was for me. I can remember everything goes on the stage, but I still can't think about it without having tears of pride that I have for that young lady. And I never taught her no, because she never actually learned no. I would say no to her many times, and she'd do it anyway. And here's my last thing. I don't know if you guys noticed. Okay, so Callie and Kelly, they were like twins, right? They were together all the time. And they did this to me every time. What time does the curtain? Curtain is at 7:30. But it would go up at 7:33 or 7:35. But when did they get there?
That's not true.
Tonight, 7:30. Tonight, 7:30. 7:30, Callie.
I'm not in the car. But the time you're talking about, that was Kelly.
Oh yeah, no, I know that. Kelly was, yeah.
Kelly, where's Kelly? I
Don't know. She actually came, the show was running. She made it just in time to get on stage. So anyway, that's why I'm gray. That's why I walk with a hunch. But I remember and love every moment of it. And my wife knows that, my kids know that. And I've had wonderful opportunities to do things with kids and adults, and I just love them to death. But so, yeah, thank you very much. And I am deeply honored to have this opportunity and this being a part of this program. Thank you very much.
Thanks. All right, guys, I'm just going to wrap up. I want to thank you all for being part of such a celebratory evening. So, but thanks again, and we really look forward to seeing you next year. So have a good night, everybody.